plains of Tibain are the most fertile in Girdlegard, and rightly give the kingdom its nickname of the breadbasket. The east of the land has been in revolt since the perished land advanced, and the peace seems to have broken in the heartland too, as a group of strangers crawl out of a hole in the ground.
Why don't we just look for a tunnel that hasn't collapsed?
And what if we don't find one? If we're overground, we at least know that there's a way, even if it's dangerous. Let's go.
Girdlegard is, contrary to what the name suggests, a large city. If Rodario is to be believed, more than 70,000 people live here, a number that you find it hard to even imagine. But while you walk through the streets, you don't doubt that it's the truth. Never before have you seen such huge masses of people.
If we are looking for somewhere to quench our thirst or for a roof over our heads, then I would recommend the Golden Well Tavern. And we can find everything we need for the rest of our journey at the Big Market. Just say where you want to go, Tungdil, and I'll show you the way.
The Big Market at the city's south gate certainly lives up to its name. You have never seen a market on such a scale. Stands, large and small, as far as the eye can see. Everything you could possibly need can be found here, as well as plenty of things that seem to have no use at all. While you push your way through the crowd to get to the trader Rodario wants to introduce to you, you overhear two peasants talking about elves.
No, I tell ya, it was elves. Pale skin, pointy ears.
Yeah, something strange is going on these days. Old Trundlewood from down Acrehill way said he saw some pointy ears too. Come to think of it, where's he been all week?
Here we are.
Rodario's sudden announcement draws your attention away from the locals, to the tent that you're now standing in front of.
Welcome to Brand's Potpourri. Whatever your heart may desire, I can supply.
You follow Rodario through the lively streets until he reaches a run-down two-story building. You hope that this dump isn't the tavern that Rodario recommends. You prepare yourself for the worst, but the inside of the tavern surprises you all. The walls are clad with dark, finely ornamented wood. The floor is clean, the tables are weighed down with good food, and a hot fire is burning in the fireplace. One should never judge a book by its cover. The guests look you over, full of curiosity, and many nod a greeting. The haggard woman behind the bar greets you loudly.
Rodario, you old rogue! What are you doing here? And you've got dwarves with you! I don't see one my whole life and then several come along in the same month.
We are on an important mission, Madame Flori, and could do with a place to stay the night.
Rodario introduces you and negotiates a good price for a few beds and a night's lodgings.
Sorry for asking, but you said you'd seen some other dwarves recently.
You're thinking of Gandagar's group and wonder whether they might have reached the kingdom of the Fifthlings already.
Yes, a nice bloke from the west. Paid for his room for a month in advance and then disappeared. Travelling lights.
The landlady's expression darkens.
That was 3 weeks ago. If he doesn't come back soon, I'll have to release the room.
You give Namora a sign and sneak onto the first floor. The half-elf appears moments later. To your surprise, she has Balandis with her, who must have caught something of what was said.
I want to know who the dwarf who is sneaking around here is. Perhaps he belongs to Gandagar's group.
After apologizing to various guests for intruding, you are left with just one untried door. Namora picks the lock and you enter the room unseen. The room is bigger than all the rooms in the tavern you have seen so far, and all just for one guest. There are maps, various pieces of notepaper, and 3 notebooks on the table. The notes are partly written in Dwarvish and partly in the language of humans. The 3 of you scan through them until Balandis draws your attention to a map on which the route from the kingdom of the Firstlings to the kingdom of the Fifthlings is marked.
What would make a firstling travel to the perished land, or even to the kingdom of the Fifthlings?
You believe you've found an explanation.
Here, this letter. I have found a way, but I don't know if I will return safely with Star Slasher. That's why I leave to you, dear Barris, my notes, may you, and so on.
Star Slasher?
You have come across this name in the notes a few times already, but you just shrug your shoulders and throw the letter back onto the table in disappointment. You had hoped to have found out some news on the whereabouts of the other group.
A sword. Apparently it was given to Girdlegard and I by a caravan travelling from the other lands. It seems we're dealing with a treasure hunter.
Before you even... You are woken with a jolt in the middle of the night by a blood-curdling scream. You look around in panic and see that the others have been woken too, but only Geralda has beads of sweat on her brow. She's breathing heavily. Concerned, you go over to her.
I can remember. The Alfar. They are doing experiments on the children of the Smith. We have to save them.
Alpha? Experiments? What are you talking about?
I can remember everything. Or at least some of it. I know that I was taken prisoner by the Alfar, along with other dwarfs. They experimented on us, and I somehow escaped.
Where was this exactly?
They are here, nearby. It was a village, I think.
An Alfar village in Tabain doesn't sound very likely.
By Rakus, if the Alpha are experimenting on dwarves, we can't just ignore it. We have to free the prisoners. We can't save the world if we ignore the suffering right in front of our eyes. We will help Geralda.
Boandal and the others accept your decision. Geralda nods at you gratefully. When you reach Acrehill, there isn't a single villager in sight. An uneasy feeling creeps over you, which finally turns into certainty when you see red paintings on the walls of the houses.
Alpha.
As expected, you don't find any survivors, but there are also no undead. The perished land has not yet advanced this far. You discover some footprints on the northern edge of the village.
It was orcs. Looks as though they waited here while the pointy ears wreaked havoc in the village. It seems like they moved on towards the north.
The pictures, painted in blood, tell the horrifying story of how the Alfar came to the village and killed the inhabitants. You also find a few elaborately carved bones, some larger ones, like those of humans, some smaller and stronger, like those of dwarves. When you reach the other end of the village, disgust is written in the faces of your companions. None of you says a word. You gather all the bones you can find together and burn them. You wash over the paintings with water from the well. You weren't able to prevent this gruesome incident, but you don't want to leave a single trace of it behind.
Ooh, do you smell that? Come! Oink, oink!
Without even waiting for you, Boindil runs over the hill and disappears behind it. You follow him, and as you reach the brow, you see a very strange scene before you.
I told you you shouldn't touch them. But I was hungry.
Aye?
Vile creature! Huh? And again!
Oink, oink, little piggies!
What do you need?
Yes?
Vile creature.
At your service?
He hardly put up a fight!
And again!
Another victory! And what now?
Vile creature! And again!
Oink, oink, little piggies!
Vile creature! Huh? At your service?
He hardly put up a fight!
Fought well and yet lost.
Oink, oink, little piggies!
Another victory!
What is it?
He hardly put up a fight!
Aye?
What do you need?
Yes?
Well, then, yeah.
At your service.
What is
That's
it?
it.
Oh,
I was expecting more of a battle. What do you need?
at your
What is it?
service. Oh,
Fought well and yet lost.
Oink, oink, little piggies!
And again!
another victory.
Vile creature!
What is
Yes?
it?
At your service.
Kill!
Your demise was inevitable.
And again! Kill!
What is it?
What do you need? What is it?
And again!
Another
Okay, this is starting to get too
We
much.
hardly put up a fight.
Kill!
Your demise was
Yes.
inevitable.
And what now?
Vile creature!
I understand.
Oh,
Well, glad.
Yes?
huh?
At your service.
I was expecting more of a battle.
Victory!
That was good training. Yes?
At your service.
What is it?
Kill!
Oink, oink, little piggies!
Expecting more of a battle.
Vile creature!
Who falls?
Kill! Vile creature!
The chaotic battle between the orcs, the undead, and you comes to the best possible conclusion. No one else is standing but you. You decide to have a little look around. The closer you get to the murky pool, the worse it stinks of decay and death. At first you thought it was only dirty water, but for as much as you can make out through the gloom, it seems almost black and has wondrous streaks. You discover a file that looks like the one Geralda carries with her. Before you can get a proper look at it, Geralda is suddenly standing next to you, and she wrenches it out of your hand. She turns it back and forth excitedly, but then disappointment spreads across her face. The container is empty. Without a word, she goes back to examining the surroundings. You tremble at the thought that you could end up the same way. You hope that one of your companions would have sympathy with you if you were to die in the Perish Land. It's a map of the surroundings. Not far from your current position is a place clearly marked with a red cross. Is it another orc camp, or even the Alfar camp? You mark the place on your own map. With the probable location of another camp up your sleeve, you continue on your way. You walk through the villages that once blossomed, but are now deserted due to the advance of the parish land. The colour has drained away from the wood of many of the houses, just as it has from the countryside itself. A carpet of withered plants rustles and crackles under your feet. You don't know if the parish land can ever be driven away again, and even if it can, it is questionable whether people will ever live here again. You sigh, and try to drive these dark thoughts away from your mind. Some way from the path, you come across an old campsite between some rocks. A trampled-out campfire and scattered belongings, papers, bottles, and a necklace, suggests that the traveller either had to flee in a hurry or was abducted.
That is a firstling necklace. I recognise the emblem. It belongs to the clan of the Roughblades.
We only know of one firstling out so far west these days, the dwarf whose notes we found in the tavern.
Star Slasher. If King Giselbert really did wield this sword, it would be an unbelievably valuable artifact. Just imagine if the sword really existed.
It's not worth losing your life for, or, in the worst case, losing your life and then rising again.
You look around again more closely, but there's not much here that could help you. The ground is too hard for footprints, and the objects that have been left behind could have come from any old dwarf trader.
Do you know anything about the Rough Blades, Balandis?
Every firstling knows of the clan. They have a long tradition as weaponsmiths, though their work is often exotic and sometimes thought of as undwarfish. They experiment a lot with blade shapes and hilt lengths. Their weapons are easy to recognise.
Sounds as though someone from a clan like that would definitely be very interested in a legendary sword.
Geralda struggles to keep pace all day, and when you see her struggling, you give the order to set up camp for the night earlier than usual.
Are you all right?
The female dwarf looks ill, and as she's aware of the fact, she doesn't even try to make excuses.
The potion! It's finished! I need more of it!
She looks at you imploringly, as if you could help her. Over the next few days, Geralda's condition grows increasingly worse. She begins to shiver, and more than once you catch her muttering to herself and glancing at Andakai surreptitiously. The Mager claims she does not know what kind of potion it is and why Geralda might need it. You believe her, but you also notice that Andakai doesn't really seem interested in finding a solution to the problem either. You reach the place that was marked on the Orc's map, and judging by the sight you are presented with, there is no doubt. This is where the Alfar did their experiments.
Dwarves! Oh, how glad I am to finally see members of my own race again. How glad I am to see anyone at all who doesn't want to kill me.
We're here to save you. We've heard that Alfar are experimenting on dwarves. Where are the others?
I am the last one.
There's me too.
You? Ah! So you escaped? Oh, I should have known it.
You and Geralda, you know each other?
She was already here when I arrived. The Alpha did experiments on her. They fed her with a tincture from this device, and then it was as if she was a doll. She had to follow their orders. They trained her in battle, and she could do Alpha magic. I swear it. But the last time, something was different. She fought against the orders of the Alfar, beheaded one of them in the end. She set me and the other prisoners free and ran away in the chaos. The Alfar recaptured all of us, apart from her.
Where are the Alpha? Oh, forget it.
Huh?
Yes?
And what now?
What is it?
Now you've got me interested.
Huh?
What is it?
No chance.
Uh-huh.
Disappointing. What is it?
Now you've got me interested.
And again. Yes?
And what
Kill.
now? What is it?
I didn't even take off my gloves.
Disappointing.
He hardly put up a fight.
What is it?
Huh?
Huh?
That's it?
All right then. Not a bad idea. If I have to.
Your death is called Geralda.
Who's next?
Uh-huh.
And what now?
What a waste of time.
He hardly put up a fight.
Disappointing. That's it? I'm on it. Yes.
I'm with you.
I'm on it.
I'm
Yes.
with you. What is it?
Yes.
What is it? I didn't even take off my gloves.
Yes?
And what now?
What a waste of time.
Vile creature! Huh?
Your death is called Geralda.
Next!
I was hoping never to see a single Shadowmare again after Greenglade.
Good job there was 2 of them then! Ha!
Let's have a look around. Maybe there are more survivors, or we might find out something about the potion that Geralda needs. The danger is over. Once and for all.
Now the horror finally comes to an end.
A rucksack containing everything needed for a few days in the wilderness and an exotic-looking sword. A rucksack.
They must be some of the missing villagers.
You wonder whether the Alfar killed them for fun or through their experiments. You hope that they didn't suffer for long, even though you know better. The elf has been beheaded. He is dead, and even the perished land won't be able to make him rise again.
Well, that's him. I remember now. He forced me to drink a potion. That's what gave me my powers. I killed him and ran away.
On closer inspection, you see a small rolled-up note in the elf's hand.
A recipe. If I had to guess, probably for Geralda's potion.
The containers are filled with blood, but it seems thinner and smells sweeter than it should. Presumably the Alfar have done something with it, either for their potions or to use it as paint. You have no idea what to do with the various devices and ingredients, but it should be easy for Andakai, as an experienced mager and alchemist, to brew Geralda's potion. You don't wish to spend the night amongst the dead, so you set up camp a little way off. You decipher the recipe for Geralda's potion together with Andakai and Namora.
All in all, the equipment and the process is not hard to understand, despite being a little strange. And the ingredients take some getting used to, even for me. This black water and elf blood, for example.
Is this what gives Geralda her powers?
Andakai nods.
It gives her powers and makes her dangerous. What will she do if the potion runs out and she is driven to madness by thirst? She could force me to brew more and more of the potion for her and find a way to supply the elf blood that is needed for it.
Andakai's gaze pierces you.
I can mix a poison that looks just like her potion. She trusts you, Tungdil. If you give it to her, she will drink it, and we will remove an uncontrollable danger from Girdlegard.
You can't bring yourself to say it, but you have to agree with the mager. You glance at the floor, and a brief nod follows.
And we should destroy the recipe. This should never happen again.
Without another word, Andakai gets to work. After 2 hours, the mager is finished and comes to you. She's carrying 2 phials that look just like the one Geralda has.
The phial on the right is the potion. The one on the left is the poison.
Andakai gives you the 2 phials.
Decide wisely.
Before you can say anything, she has already turned away and is marching at a swift pace towards Jiroon.
Tungdil, is the potion ready?
You only just managed to hide the phials from Geralda.
Yes, here is the potion.
You give Geralda the real potion, and she takes several large swigs.
Thank you, Tungdil. What would I do without you?
Don't mention it. Good night, Geralda.
She nods and leaves. But before you can do the same, someone grabs your shoulder.
You gave her the wrong file.
You stick out your chin.
I clearly haven't. She's alive. You can't trick me so easily.
She must die, Tungdil. She is too dangerous, not only for this group, but for the whole of Girdlegard.
You leave the Mager with a cold glance and go and lie down, but sleep evades you. The next morning you are the first to get up after a short night, and you go straight to talk to Geralda. Instead of the dwarf, you find a letter under a stone where she'd been sleeping. I overheard you and the Mager. I did not wish for what has befallen me. I can't help it. That's why I won't let myself be killed for it. Maybe we will meet again one day. Farewell, and look after yourself. Geralda. You put the letter into your pocket pensively. She has escaped.